Hello, dear viewers. You're watching over in Horn of Africa, Future Africa program. I'm Daniel Chala, your host and producer. Today, I'm joined by Carlo Abraham, a Pan-Africanist, former external communication advisor at Ministry of Peace, honorary doctor, peace ambassador, as well social media influencer. Carlo, thank you very much for joining me.
Thank you for having me.
You are a Pan-Africanist, social media influencer, communication advisor. And let's begin with your contribution in Pan-African movement.
Sure. I've been trying, from the very beginning, I tried to reach the people, especially the youths, from 5 years back, maybe, like volunteering, trying to reach many youths, traveling to schools and universities, preaching about love, unity, and being together, bringing a better future for the nation, the country, and then also the continent at large. I have been working with that. And then at the same time, I was telling for the African youths that, being a Pan-Africanist and then bringing Africa as a one. So that has been became, led into Pan-Africanist, because I have been communicating with many users in Africa, and then we have been working together and fighting, especially the foreign intervention and blah, blah, a lot of things we have been doing. So that was my contribution. So with that contribution, I think I was, recognized with many things like that, because when you were doing something better for your people, it is not you who are recognizing yourself, but the people by themselves, the people in the continent, the people in the West, in the Europe, they're the one who's going to recognize who you are, what you are doing for your nation. So we were doing, or I myself was doing, with a humble heart and then with a good attitude, thinking about the better future for my generation, for my people, the country that I love. So, and then the continent in general. So that is what I've been contributing. And the platform, social media, mainly we have been using social media, because today the world is in a one, right? So technology is there. We communicate each other through the medias, and then the online medias, the Zooms, and then conferences, calling each other and going to some African countries and then sharing our unity for the betterment of this great continent and great nation in general. So that has been doing, you see, that's the platform. And I do have, a volunteer organization called Wake Up Africa, Ethiopias Global Hope, and then that is the platform that I'm working with. So this is what I've been contributing. Okay.
Well, before we go further, what do you think is Ethiopia's contribution in Pan-Africanism movement?
Oh, Ethiopia's contribution is amazing. It's obvious that the world knows that. The continent Africa knows that, Ethiopia's contribution. That is why they gave us priority to put the capital city here in Africa, in Addis Ababa, right? So that is the main thing that our contribution played. Organization of African Union in 1963, when it was established, it is the reason why our contribution for Africa, because Ethiopia played a greater role to release black nations in general from colonialism. They never thought of escaping from colonialism. It is Ethiopia who thought. You see, is there this kind of black nation who refused for colonialism? You see, that gave a lesson. You can take the Adua, the reason that we celebrated. You can take, the English, who tried to, during the time of as a Tetros, you remember, right? So during those times, there was also one of our refusal for the foreign intervention contributed for today's Pan-Africanism, and then for today's African Union. So you can take our roles on that. Maybe our ancestors, our kings, Kas, Kadamawi, Haile Selassie, of the time they contributed, Julius Nyerere and Jomo Kenyatta, and then also you can take many more like that who contributed, our forefathers, to see Africa today. But our contribution is completely amazing. No in the world, I can say that, no in the world played such kind of role, refusing the Westerners, controlling their people, and refusing the whites, you see, the colonialism. So Ethiopia played a greater role, not only for Africa, played for all black nations in general in the world, I can say. So that is the Pan-Africanism contribution that Africa played. So we need to play that. We need to play. African continent needs our front fighting. When we are front fight for Africa, that is what they need. That is what they expect from us. So I think we are trying, as a users, we are trying that, trying to connect. You know, Mika Chavala, the one who's a Pan-Africanist also too. You know, the guy from Tanzania. He's also one of the one who's influencing in Africa as well too. There are many more. We have the connection with all of them, and then trying our best, you know, to see Africa in a better place.
Well, many say for Africa to be strong, I mean, to fight foreign pressures, Africa needs strong economy.
Yeah.
For example, Ethiopia has just started homegrown economic reform, like wheat production and whatever. So, what do you say about this?
Yeah, actually, you see, when you take the continent has got its own problem on economic, you know, self-economic growth. I can say that if you don't, you know, if you don't build your economy better, the countries, the foreign countries are there to play on you. Economy matters. Africa needs to develop its own economy, but still there are problems, there are challenges, of course. But whatever the challenges are there, we need to work on our economy. When you are building your economy, nobody is going to play on you as they are. They are going to, you know, play you like a card. That's not. You see, when you are building your economy, you protect yourself. You know, they are there to respect you. Why don't you give an example like China? You see, who can fight China now? Because many years back, maybe 50, 60 years back, where is China? You can imagine China was in the worst drought, in the worst famine there, in the worst problem many years back. Even we Ethiopians were helping her, even China. Imagine, today China, where is it? China built itself amazingly. No European country can influence China because Chinese, they understood everything. You see, they understood, they negotiated with everything. They do have a problem, but they solved their problem by their own and then built their economy. Then today China is, you know, you can't touch it. You see, they're the one who is influencing now. They are the one who is influencing Africa as well, like that of the Europeans. So it's mandatory that to grow, you know, to bring our economic excellence. In that, you know, production is also one of the area that we need to see, and then industry is one of the area that we need to see, right? And then also you can take the tourism is one of the part that we didn't do. Even if you take in Ethiopia, the tourism is there. We can be the richest country only using the tourism revenue even, but we didn't use that. Of course, agriculture needs to work on that, industry needs to work on that, technology needs to work on that, education needs to work on that. You see, these all, the aggregation of this all is the one can change the history of this nation. The big thing is, you know, sitting down and then trying to solve our problem by our own. You see, when we are doing that, that's a wise touch. That's, you know, being wise. And then that is how we teach the world that we solve our problem and then deal the social problems, the economic problems. These all are related with a peace security issue, I mean. So we need to work on that.
The other one is in the 36th AU summit,
right,
which AU had a few weeks ago. Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed said Africa needs to have its own media and Security Council representation. What's your take on that?
Exactly. You see, it's obvious that, you know, Africa for the last many years, I can say, for about 400 years, 500 years, we have been played by, you know, I can say, we're not, when I'm saying, like, I'm not hating the white or something like that. It's not about, like, being, you know, ethnocentric toward this black nation and then hating the white or something like that. It was the history that taught us, you see. The whites were influencing the blacks in general. Even still, we have a problem in Africa. In Africa, at the same time, in the Western nation, and even in the North America, in U.S. also too. You can see every day, Black Lives Matters, everywhere. Still, the problem is there. But whatever the case, we have still to fix our problem by our own. How? The media plays its own role. Do we have our own media? No, we don't have it. I remember that last year the Prime Minister of Ethiopia, Dr. Abiy Ahmed, was raised this question for last year, even the AU summit, and then he did it again like this year as well. You see, so there is still no one is taking the responsibility to fix this problem. You see, no one is taking. The AU is not taking that main. So the AU needs to work on that. I can say that, you know, you have to take the responsibility to build. Maybe, let's take Ethiopia. Hey, Ethiopia, Rwanda, and then Nigeria or Ghana, blah, blah, some four. You guys or you countries take the responsibility in building African media. Then you have to give responsibility. Then the next thing when you come, they have to come up with some kind of results. Where did you build? I don't know wherever you build. You may build it in Casablanca, Morocco. You may build it in South Africa, wherever it is. But you need to build your own. Someone has to take the responsibility to build the African media by itself. So the responsibility matters. I can see that. You can take that at 2063, or Agenda 2063. We have a lot, yeah? The transportation issues, one transport and one currency, and then one security system, one everything, the train. You see, many more. We have been discussed, or we have been given like an assignment for 2063. It's long year. 2063 means it's very long. But if you take in Europe, it's 2030. Why? They're giving us an assignment, actually. It is up to us to understand why 2063. Why don't it be 2030 and then work on that and fight for that and then bring a change to the nation? It is your people suffering there, right? So for that, media is very important, but we need to give, you know, assignment is for one of the country to build it, and the money comes from somewhere else. It's obvious that some, you know, it's maybe our contribution from our GDPs and something, we may contribute some, right? And then everyone, 56 countries contribute and they build, maybe, right? And then if you take the transportation, so we have to take the responsibility. We have 56 countries. Okay, let's take the better in economy. Who are the better countries in Africa? Let's take them and then give them an assignment for 5, like, you know, 5 each, like you distribute. Then they have to work on that and then bring some kind of solution for the next summit. I don't see that. So that is what we need as a youth of Africa today, right? When you do that, you solve the problem. So it's very important. And let's come to the Security Council, right? You raised. The Security Council is very important. It's very funny that such a huge country, nation, such a huge continent doesn't have its own delegation there, representative there in the Security Council. Let me give you, like, 56 countries. How on earth 56 countries doesn't have a representative on the Security Council? That's not fair. We are living in the same world. So I have to decide my own interest right there. I have to explain my own interest right there. The delegators or the representatives of my continent should say something on that. You don't have anything to say. Why? We have to fight and then do something on that. For that, maybe Ethiopia can play, because Ethiopia influenced many more. History tells us a lot. So we can push on that and then bring African continent as the AU, and then we have to do something. Like 3, you can calculate how much UK is putting there in the Security Council. You have to calculate, and then how much we have to put there as an African, 56 nations. That's it, one thing. And then let me give you just the economy. All the economy in the West are resources of Africa. It's obvious that. The diamonds, the coltans, the cobalts, everything, the petrols even. It's all, I think, going from Africa to there. So that is the resource. You can respect and give some kind of position, representatives for the Security Council. How come? You see, it's very painful. And I can tell you the culture that we have, it's very impressive. Imagine in the European Union or the Security Council, our colors has got its own contribution. It's very beautiful. They have to put it, you have to, have many parties of the world. The Security Council needs to be the world's council, right? It shouldn't be only the Europeans, the North Americans and something like that, or some part of the Arabs and something like that, right? It has to have Africa in general as well. So that is my comment. So it needs our strong fight on that as an African, as a black nation, as a beautiful, as a charismatic, as a pride African. We have to fight for that and then put something and then say no. Why? We have to fight, right? So even if there is still the push and the separations because they are the one who are injecting money to run the AU and something, we have a challenge, of course, but still we need to push.
The other one is most conflict is in Africa, is initiated by Western countries.
Yeah, exactly.
For example, we can take Mali, Burkina Faso, and
Sure.
some other countries, you know.
Yeah.
They want to be mediator after initiating the conflict.
Exactly.
So what should African youth, African leaders, AU as a union must do to fight such kinds of things?
Yeah, it's very funny that they're the one who is giving you an issue to fight each other, to kill each other, to initiate conflict is right there. It is the system that they gave us to the Africa. They came with their culture, they came with their mission, they came with their many interests. Especially you can take that even the constitutions, if you take even, and then also the way that you need to lead. They give you every paper, even the handouts. Africa, following that for many years, that was mainly like, dividing you. Look, why 330 million United States of America doesn't have an issue of ethnicity or conflict and something like that. They don't have. They don't have this issue. Imagine there are 333 or 35 million people living in USA. Go Europe, go many more. They don't have these kind of issues. These issues, the conflict is, the killing is, the drought is, and then you see the migrations and the sufferings and everything is in Africa. That is what they need. When you are busy on that, they are the one already taking everything that you have, and then they're leading their own safe life there. Haha! You see, they're eating 4 times. Me and my family, everyone here. I may not eat like that. You see, this is what they need. If not, they're not living in safe. They want to give you conflict is there. Fight there. You just kill each other. You just, every single day, if you calculate how many children, the ratio, if you take Africa is there. How many women are in the world that are dying due to birth rate, due to delivery related with reproductive health, it is Africa. How many people are dying on the malaria syndrome, it is in Africa. Look, every problem is related with health, related with social crisis in Africa. Just when you are taking, the statistics, I cannot just mention it now. So just for the time, for the sake of time. So everything is here, the problem. When you are there in that case, so they are the one already taking everything. This means, they have to understand. What I'm saying, these things are, they have to understand and then think about the nation, the people of Africa in general, the people of Ethiopia in general. See, they have to worry about these people. These are great nation. These are the one who gave them a bread. These are the one who invented many things. If you take Ethiopia, Ethiopia is the one who contributed a lot. Land of origin, many more things, right? They have to give respect at least. You see, they have to worry for these people. These people are, Lucy, you see, the origin of humankind, where the human races came. That is what the science told us. That is also in the Bible also too, in the Quran, you see. That is what we have. They have to give some respect for that too, but they are not giving.
EU supports its member states.
Exactly.
For example, we can take Greece.
Yes.
When Greece was at its lowest point in economy and some other issues, EU contributed a lot to bring back Greece from its place.
Exactly.
Do you think that AU had such kinds of experience, especially in involving in member countries to solve the problems, be it economically, politically, socially, it doesn't matter. Do you think that AU had such kinds of experience? What do you think about this?
Yeah, AU, you see, has been, divided for many years. They're trying, it was made Organization of African Union before, but now AU, African Union, so making Africa one. You see, that's the concept. And OAU is Organization of African Union, is something like that you put somewhere else, and then, it's a little bit, not closer to the people. But no, when you think AU, African Union, Africa is there to be united as one. That's the concept. So that was meant to be worked on. If you think EU, they are serious. You see, they die for the European being Eurocentric attitude. Look, the NATO. Why didn't I give you like the Russia and the Ukraine issue? look, more than 15 or 50 countries are there together as the European Union and fighting Russia. You got it? You see? And then also Ukraine, they are into Ukraine and then fighting Russia. Unity, they are supporting Ukraine and then bringing Ukraine and then fighting Russia. So they are together as one. You see, look, if you come to Africa, can we do that? We got a problem. The Greece, you see, in Greece they did a lot. The Greece economy went down, declined, inflation, everything. They went down. People were suffering. They stand together as a European Union. Then they contributed a lot of money, and the Greece economy became higher, and they developed it again. Now Greece is in a safe way. So African Union, recently even in our case, you can imagine, some African countries don't want to be, most of, you see, don't want to be with us. They couldn't, vote for us, for positive. They became to others, which is wrong. They have to be with us because we are Africans. We are brothers and sisters. You see this kind of problem. And then there are some who understood and then became with us on the voting in the Security Council and many more during our conflict issues, the process that we had. Yeah. So there are countries who supported us. But as an African, look, all EU is become one for one Greece. All EU became one in the case of Russia. You see? But all Africa needs to be one for one reason. You see, this is what we have to work on. Yes, my brother. So that is the problem that we have been facing. But AU exactly needs to work that. So I think that they are learning, they are taking a lesson from others, from Europeans and many more in Asia. You see, Asia, they support each other, by the way. They are wise. See, if you go to Pakistan and then India, they support each other, by the way. Internally, they do their best. And in Chinese, also, they're supporting themselves right there. And then the Arabs, imagine, they do have their own. Look, Africa. We don't have this kind of, strong relationship, unity, you see, a strong commitment toward this, worrying about its own nation. That's the problem. And so we need to, as an AU, we need to work for our continent in general, for our country in general. That is the main thing that, as an African, needs to do.
Well, Carlo, speaking about AU, how do you see the recent African solutions for African problems? What's your take on that?
Exactly. That's a very important thing. Africa, we do have our own history. We do have our own social capital, my brother. Amazing social capital that we have. The reconciliation that we can go through, or the negotiation process, the elderly, and many more. We have our own problem-solving social capitals that we didn't use. We can even teach many Europeans. We don't have to listen to, take always from there. We can solve our problem by our own. Look, a very serious conflict, even when you kill someone, the elders if you go to the countryside, if you are a killer, they will put you stand there, and then while the corpus is there, the dead body is there, they discuss with you, and then they let you to punish whatever it is important to punish you because you killed this guy. And then they agree, they hug each other. The family of the dead body hug you, give you love, reconciliation, right? And they solve their problem. Why don't we do this? This is in Ethiopia. We have this, right? We have this in Ethiopia. In every corner of the culture that we have in every tribes. If you go to South Africa, if you go to some other Western countries and Nigeria, they do have their own tribal kings and those who are solving the problem. They don't bring everything to the court. Even when you kill someone, they don't go to the court. They solve the problem right there sitting by. And then finally they hug each other. Sorry for what I did. And then the punishment is that they compensate. And then give love each other. They get married again with that family. Amazing. We have this. So we can solve our problem. This is a very serious issue. Africans can solve their own problem by their own. No worries for that. But the commitment, the leaders' commitment of Africa matters.
Well, you've been saying that Africans need to unite to solve their own problems.
Right.
As well, Ethiopians need to unite together to solve their own problems and blah, blah.
Yeah.
What do you think about the National Dialogue Commission, which which will be commenced in Ethiopia and its contribution?
Obviously, if we have been working exactly in the right way, with a possible way, it can solve the problem of the nation. There may be challenges not to work it as it is, as you expected. Maybe the National Dialogue Commission has got their own plans or strategies and how to reach the problem of the nation, right? But still there may be challenges, but we need to remove those old challenges, and then if we let them work properly, we can solve this problem. The nation needs to support with them, and then the people needs to support with them, and then the government needs to support them, and then remove many more conflicts around in every corner of the country. So we have to fix those things, and then put a platform for the national dialogue. Then it will solve a problem. We know we have many problems in here, so we can solve by discussion, by dialogue. The thing that I told you earlier, the social capital that we have can solve everything. Obviously, the social capital that we have is not easy. We can use that, we can fix our problem. So I know many intellectuals are there, many more are there. Yeah, so if they need uses, we're there also to help them though. Because I need my country. I love my country. I love my people. I love my future generation. So that's why I'm fighting, I'm trying all my best that I have. You see, for that, everyone needs to contribute their own part to see Ethiopia to the better, the united great nation of Ethiopia. This is a great nation, I can tell you that. No one can compete with Ethiopia, I can say that. Because the history that we have is not easy. History is history, right? It's obvious we have to respect and then pass to the next level. We may take a lesson from the history. You build you discuss on the present issues, and then you build the future from the history. That's what we learn from history.
Speaking about National Dialogue Commission and its process, what do you think the media, the opinion leaders, and the party role?
This is about saving the country, my brother. This is about saving the nation. This is about saving the generation. The media needs to focus on those things. And the scholars, intellectuals, they don't have to sit down and then watch. They have to come out. This is the country. This is the country that we're living in, right? They have to contribute their part, the idea they have, which is very, very critical to solve the problem of the nation. If they are keeping silent and then sitting at the university and teaching the university students, that's not okay. There are issues that the country needs. They have to come up and then say something and contribute their ideas, because they are scholars. They're supposed to be scholars. They're supposed to change the country. Like in ideas. Even if the government is there, still the government is exactly expected dealing with the scholars, right? The scholars are there to contribute their part, this. I know some are trying to, but still we need to work on that. The scholars, the leaders, and then as you said, the medias, and then all the elders, and then the uses, the powerful part. We didn't mention even the uses. I'm also into uses, right? I'm empowering uses. I'm just provoking uses to be a better citizen for this nation, right? So the uses, we need to use all. And then the religious institutions, we need to use them. The civil societies, we need to use them. If you use this all positively, you can change this country, obviously. Of course, we are on the track. So the national dialogue may contribute on that. So these the entities that I mentioned earlier needs to play a greater role on that. So that's what my take on.
Akalo Abraham, Pan-Africanist, former external communication advisor at Ministry of Peace, honorary doctor, ambassador of peace, as well as social media influencer. Thank you for your time with OBN Horn of Africa, Future Africa program.
Thank you for having me. Let God bless Ethiopia and Africa in general, the continent, and then let peace, love, and unity be with us. Thank you.
Dear viewers, this brings us to the end of today's episode. Stay tuned with other OBN Horn of Africa programs. Bye-bye.